Good evening and thanks for joining us for Saturday's news. As a normal routine from New Year's Eve leading up to the new year, St. John has always been busy with emergency operations in the streets of Port Moresby, and 2021 New Year's Eve was no different. This time, however, they received fewer cases as expected compared to previous year's operations.
As the countdown began last night towards a dawn of a new year, the emergency frontliners also began another normal routine of the new year operations similar to the previous years. With ambulances, rapid response units and paramedics on standby the whole night to receive emergency cases, the St. John ambulance received less number of cases than expected. According to the St. John's Duty Operations Manager for the Delta team, Godman Kimia, he said last night was a peaceful operation in Port Moresby.
It was a quiet night. We started off not attending to many cases, just less than 15. During the festive season up until now, just after 12 then we started receiving, we were quite busy, but from the afternoon coming up, not that much. We were just below 15, less cases than that. But overall, a quiet New Year's Eve for us. Yes, we have clinicians on duty, 2 advanced paramedics, some EMTs, and our clinical nurse. So we have, apart from our normal 7 operational units, we have additional response vehicles, which are paramedics, yes.
Kimia said despite facing challenges of COVID-19 and other emergency cases in the year 2021, St. John's is looking forward to yet another fruitful year of operations.
I think last year was quite busy with trauma cases. This year, not that much, probably because of COVID or something, but yeah, compared to not too much, yes, from the previous year, yes. Yeah, of course, we'll face challenges, but anything that comes our way, we can handle it. Any challenges, more cases, or new ways to approach it, how to go out and handle cases.
St. John's is reaching out to the general public to call the toll-free number if there is a need to address emergencies.
The general public and St. John's can always call 111. We are almost working 24 hours, night shift, day shift. Call in if you need help. 111 is always available.
Jamie Harrow, National EMTV News.
Lay police were out in numbers yesterday until this morning to ensure the New Year transition was trouble-free. Police units set up checkpoints and patrol the city, monitoring communities. While celebrations citywide were generally peaceful, police attended to throwing incidents and the reports of the burning down of houses in a settlement in Lay.
At midnight, fireworks were set off to welcome the new year in Lay. Police were out monitoring the celebrations and were then alerted about stones being thrown into weapon-caused security premises. A half an hour was spent to disperse the roaming settlers around the streets. The patrol also included random checkups of pedestrians after curfew to confiscate illicit substances if found. A police car was also stoned at the bivouac compound around the Chinatown area. A police officer was wounded during the incident and rushed to the hospital. Following this incident, police burned down 3 houses belonging to the suspects at dawn. Lay Metropolitan Superintendent Chief Inspector Chris Kunyanban encouraged the communities in Lay to celebrate the new year in a peaceful manner.
Celebrate now. Tomorrow you may grab, sometimes you may regret, you may spending money or you may borrow him or some services where government give him, no, this like but you may carry again.
While police officers on alert attending to reports in areas along the back road in Malang, residents at Eruku town and Kamkumu were had a peaceful new year.
Very happy. Now me feel very safe. Also, na me plan mama, me plan market. Me feel safe straight because the police walk law, walking all rounds belong all na. Also, stopping all Spackman walking all trouble about.
Michael Tamtipais, National EMTV News, Ley.
While commending NCD and Central Police for a job well done in 2021, Assistant Commissioner Police NCD and Central Anthony Wagambi Jr. said to get the best policing standard will need a change of attitude for everyone. He said police in NCD and Central are slowly regaining the trust of the people, and although it's not 100%, they are getting there.
Assistant Commissioner Police NCD and Central Anthony Wagambi Jr. says he is impressed with the current trend where members of the Royal Papua New Guinea Constabulary have begun to take ownership and responsibility towards policing. He said police have put up with the continuous barrage of criticisms and allegations against them on social media, with a few genuine allegations and most are fake. But Wagambi stresses that police are public servants and service providers, therefore, like other public servants, all are accountable to the community they serve. In the years preceding 2020, this division came under heavy criticism from the public almost every day. They were making the headlines and front pages of newspapers for misconduct. Wagambi believes this has changed thanks to the command interacting positively with the public through a Facebook page, which has shifted public perception to supporting the force. He said to get to the best policing standard will need change of attitude from everyone, and they are slowly getting there. Wagambi said the command may not have the resources like logistics, safe and healthy working environment, but through change of attitude and sticking to the basics, the command can shine. Reminding his men and women that the more they shine, the more the command will be noticed by the government to provide what they need. He concluded in saying the command needs to produce results in order to make it easier for the executive management to source the needed backing. Chairman Poreambeb, National EMTV News.
A group of women in Port Moresby are calling on authorities to arrest and charge the men involved in the brutal torture of women in Kagua-Irava district in Southern Highlands. The cry for help by the women in Port Moresby is being echoed by many women throughout Papua New Guinea.
Me blinded the police. Me blinded the sectional colima family sexual violence unit. There are 72 recommendations. 72 recommendations met by the parliamentary committee. Me blinded tick him off one come now. We're doing it across the country now. And the only way we can do it is with support of like groups, or NGO groups, people mama groups, or youth groups. And we cannot do it alone. It must be a collective thing. So you may all get a boom. And on a New Year's Eve, on a Christmas Eve, on a New Year's Eve, you now you get to come here, me one bell, and me to thank you on behalf of government, you What happened in South Island, people looking for videos now. I'm go viral. It is tip of the iceberg. It's tip of the iceberg. That was lucky that someone caught it on camera. One man seeing on camera now you me looking here. How about all the cases? How about the cases where also Bagaram or Mama blew me or Labun blew me and it was sorcery and it was GBV across the entire country inside little remote areas? You may not got data. But the one that them spike him sun come up now that you me boom stop here. It was lucky that it was caught on camera.
You're watching National EMTV News. We'll have more stories after these short messages. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the news. Outgoing PNGDF Commander Major General Gilbert Toropo is challenging the NEC decision that revoked his appointment as PNGDF Commander. Toropo filed an urgent application at the National Court in Port Moresby to review the NEC decision on grounds based on breach in Constitution.
The urgent application that went before the National Court is seeking a leave for a judicial review on the NEC decisions. The decisions that retired Toropo from PNGDF and his appointment to serve as High Commissioner to New Zealand. Toropo's main argument in this court proceeding is breach in Constitution, where his revocation of term as commander came 6 months earlier. Major General Gilbert Toropo was appointed in 2014 and served 2 consecutive terms as the chief of PNG Defence Force. Taking up the post in 2014, Toropo's contract was renewed in 2018 for another 4 years and will end on June 13, 2022. However, towards the end of 2021, the Defence Council made recommendations to the NEC to replace Toropo. This led to the appointment of recently promoted Major General Mark Goina as the new PNGDF commander. Goina was serving as the High Commissioner to Australia prior to taking up the top post in the PNG Defence Force. The recent changes in the PNG Defence Force includes the NEC appointment of Colonel Siale Diro to serve as a commissioner to Australia. Thekla Jogo, National EMTV News.
One day before the new year, Prime Minister James Marape visited Manus. He announced major impact projects, including the presentation of 10 million kina for the East-West National Highway. PM Marape also made commitments to build a COVID isolation facility at the Laringau Hospital.
On New Year's Eve, Prime Minister James Marape visited Manus to announce major projects for the small island province. Among key announcements is for Manus to be a tax-free zone. He says this will eventuate once the specific bill is passed in Parliament.
Manus must be a self-sustaining economy. Long number 1 month we block over Parliament, and number 3 month, but passing one law. Blow making Manus Ikma one blood tax-free zone, a concept we make him so that you can see more business comes in on Manus too. We said like making more hotel or more industry or canal sem, you can grow here.
The Prime Minister also presented a 10 million kina funding for the East-West National Highway, a major road project to link the mainland. Another 10 million kina was committed to the Manus Provincial Health Authority. This is specifically for a 1,000-bed isolation and treatment facility. Speaking there, the Prime Minister says the national government will work with the 2 political leaders to improve electricity supply in the province. He says this is vital for the small island.
Tomorrow, you look power solution Manus. If you can get nice, good power, you combine them all kind of things economy and economic activities, whether in tourism or agriculture-based or other industries, including fish.
The Prime Minister also announced that a funding has been allocated in the 2022 budget to build a new port for the fisheries sector for the easy transport of goods and services.
Western part of Manus, long come up one place, look at port, my must fish must up, and long budget, long next year budget, 2022 budget, maybe like put him aside 30 million kina, long start the first walk, long outside, long dry care, long I come up on the place, long fish, we get the fish, must have outside.
Meanwhile, the new Manus airport is nearing completion and will be open in the coming months. Jack Lepower Jr., National EMTV News.
The Central and NCD primary education teachers have raised concerns over delayed rec leave and budget cutting, as most teachers have received their allowances lesser than expected, while some are yet to receive. Under the PNG Teachers Association, they are demanding the authorities to explain the situation. Jamie Hara reports with more.
The primary school teachers in Central Province have raised concerns over delayed rec leave fares, as most teachers from outside provinces have not gone home for the festive holidays. As part of the PNG Teachers Association, these teachers normally apply for the leave fares biannually to go home and return to the teaching stations once the break is over. According to the PNGTA's president in Central, Joseph Kua, he says this issue has been ongoing and needs to be addressed by authorities concerned.
Rec leave fare is a condition of employment that is covered under the Teaching Service Act, that any teacher who teaches outside of his own district or province in another place, after serving 2 consecutive years, they have to be given regular fares back to their own village or province. The Act clearly states that they have to be transported from their school location right to their place of birth. So that is done. And with the funding for the regular fares, Central, I also thank the Governor, Honourable Robert Agarobe, for making available the funds for the regular fares. Central has always been good because of our Governor. All right, the process went well, but teachers are not satisfied because their leave fare has been cut by half. Those who had quoted and submitted for 10,000 were paid 5,000. That is why most of my Central teachers are not happy with that.
Hua, who is from Simbu, has been teaching in the Central Province. He said although it takes time to process such, all must be done before the school holidays begin. Currently, there are less than 50 teachers yet to receive their rec leave.
It is a national function. Funds are not controlled by our provincial treasury or finance. It is controlled by the national finance. And when Christmas comes, teachers make applications. Those applications are directed or submitted through national finance. And national finance, you know, they have to serve every province. And sometimes when things go wrong, they send them to the province late, and then the province will have to facilitate the payment. But otherwise, it's good. Normally, year after year. When I said 2 years, you know, not all teachers receive regular fares on the same year.
While the last batch is yet to receive their leave fares on Monday, they are currently urging authorities to improve their services so that the same issue does not continue in the years to come. Jamie Harrow, National MTV News.
Prime Minister James Marape says current and new oil and gas projects in the country will open up for more investment. Speaking late last month, he said focus will be for genuine investors to partner the state. The Prime Minister says as 2022 LNG projects will be key to support Papua New Guinea's economic outlook.
Speaking at a recent webinar, the Prime Minister says LNG projects will be key for PNG's benefit. He says though government may change, the investment pathway must remain open for genuine investors. The PM said this is to give comfort to giants in the oil and gas sector.
Government is here to stay. If you feel that government has an issue by way of policy, then we only a letter away, we only a phone call away, we only a meeting away, we only a session away. We are not running a dictatorship. As in many parts of the world, we're running a democracy. A democracy means meeting. Democracy means talking. Democracy means consensus. Democracy means making decisions that is good for all, including our investors, especially in respect to the internal rate of return for the shareholders and for the various boards that our investors hold.
The Prime Minister also highlighted that his government will not waste time but partner with investors. Unlike past projects, the new trend by the ruling government is to uphold binding framework so projects meet the best possible return of investment and benefit for all stakeholders.
When these projects come on board, Papua New Guinea it will be evident that we do not change goalposts in between. We honor commitments we've made in those who have secured legally binding licenses, whether at exploration stage or at development stage. Governments come in, governments go out, but the honor of those agreements will stand the test of time.
The Prime Minister also highlighted that downstreaming will be the next chapter for all industries in the country. He says this will begin with an allocation of 100 million kina in the 2022 national budget. PM Marape says government's focus is also in the renewable resource sector.
And so the value-adding downstream processing concept discussions we're having as government is not just strictly confined to the mining space or the petroleum space. It's a general step back for us as a body of leaders to look into what we have achieved in the last 46 years.
Jack Lapawa Jr., National EMTV News.
You're watching National EMTV News. Chukai Sports is next. Stay tuned for the details.
Chukai Sports.
Welcome to Chukai Sports. The PNG Rugby Football Union has plans to bring back Rugby Sevens bigger and better in the new year, marking Sevens tournaments a major feature of the national body's calendar.
Initial plans are in place for 2022 to become the year that Rugby Sevens makes its return as a major feature on the PNG Rugby Football Union's competition calendar. Rugby Sevens, with its fast pace and exciting attacking plays, will be used by the PNG RFU as a recruitment vehicle, attracting interest from the wider public and the smaller unions around the country.
We also plan to run 7 weeks of Sevens competition here. We run the first 3 weeks pre-qualification in the provinces, and the next 7 weeks we run it here, like an intercity Sevens competition.
A shorter and more accessible version of the game, Rugby Sevens will encourage the smaller unions to affiliate to the national body, allowing them to participate in national competitions and development programs.
The period heading into New Year, we're expecting all unions to prepare. It's a good time for them to identify the local talent that they have. It will be a full-on Sevens for New Year.
Huxley Lovai, Chukai Sports.
We'll go to break now and come back with the weather after these messages.
Chukai Sports. Chukai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by MoniPlus, with you always.
I'll look at the weather forecast for this afternoon and tonight in the southern region. Showers and thunderstorms in Port Moresby and Popondetta. Cloudy with a few showers in Daru, Kerama and Alatau. In the New Guinea, in the Moresby region fine although cloudy in Lake. Cloudy weather in Wau. Showers and thunderstorms in Medang. Cloudy with a shower or two in Wewak and Vanimo. In the New Guinea Islands region, showers and thunderstorms right across the region in Lorengau, Kavieng, Kokopo, Rabaul, Kimbe and Buka. And in the Highlands region, showers and thunderstorms right across the region as well in Mount Hagen, Goroka, Kundiawa, Mendi and Wabeg.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by MoniPlus, with you always.
And that's been the news, sport and weather for Saturday, 1st of January 2022. On behalf of the news team, pleasant evening and good night.